A very good morning to all of our viewers and a warm welcome to everyone to the show. You are watching the YouTube channel Skepta, and I'm your host, Dr. Mani Iyer. Before we start, I request you to please subscribe, like, and share this channel with your friends and relatives. And also, please press the bell button for notifications. Okay. Today, we are discussing a topic that's become part of everyday conversations: mental health. Yet, despite hearing the term so often, many of us still wonder what it really means and how it applies to our own lives. Look at this case, for example. The 16-year-old boy from a modest family background, good enough in studies as a supportive family, looks perfectly fine from appearance. This boy, when comes to a psychologist's desk, the table turns 360 degrees as he starts to narrate about his difficult thoughts and his compromised behavior as an outcome of such thoughts. This is a classic case of maladaptive thinking, where the boy engages himself into thoughts of unnecessary nature stemming out of various reasons, from family experiences and online content exposure, and many a time an unreleased set of emotions and unprocessed thoughts that bring an individual down to a compromised and unhealthy mental state. S, in this case, still has a lot to be understood about, but today we will see through our understanding of mental health. To understand this particular case as well as unpack it, we are joined by renowned psychologist Ms. Nasreen Khan. Nasreen Khan, please, you are welcome to the show. We are welcoming you. I'm welcoming you. Too. Please join us in this broadcast. And to talk about Nasreen, Nasreen has done her master's in applied psychology from Geetam University, Visakhapatnam, passed with flying colors of academic distinction. Currently, she's working as a behavioral therapist at Chirek International School, Hyderabad, primarily working with kids of 6 to 9 years old. She has more than 2.5 years, 3 years experience in diverse settings like schools, colleges, semi corporate, clinical, and healthcare, also research and development. She's keenly interested in interdisciplinary research studies, combining psychology with law, combining psychology with climate studies, combining psychology with politics and sociology. She's actively into research and very much into writing as well. So she has given an opportunity. She was given an opportunity to present at the International Research Colloquium organized by Manipal Academy of Higher Education in Dubai, and yeah, and she presented with flying colors. So, Nasreen ji, thank you very much for being with us today. And so I welcome you to the show. And on this very important topic, understanding mental health and well-being, I request you to, take control. The floor is all of yours. Over to you, Nasreen ji.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me. Again, starting from mental health to talking about mental health and understanding, it might seem like we already know, we already feel that, okay, yes, this is every day, we need to do. But exactly where we lag is what we need to do. Now, you have said something to me. You said that you are taking control of the session, but not quite, sir. Let us both be involved in the process. So, as we move forward with our discussion, we will uh, understand what mental health is, what mental well being is. So, in this session, you can expect us to explore the same, the quite right narrative of mental health, because there are a lot. the exposure is a lot, with the internet being there, with the stories being shared online. There's no boundaries, or even if there are boundaries, there are very blurred, or there's a gray area which we do not talk about. So that gray area we'd like to start exploring with this. We'll see how we can make it little clear for everybody who's listening to us today. So if you could move forward, yes, with your
And
permission.
yeah, definitely, ma'am. So before we begin, let's check in with everyone joining us today. And in this chat, describe how you're feeling today. Use just one word or choose from the options on your screen. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes. So here's a simple question I would like to ask our host. How are you feeling today, sir?
I'm feeling fine, ma'am, today. I'm feeling good.
Yes. So, how often do we go missing out on this, checking on our own feeling, right? We wake up in the morning, we go to our office, or we just sit down to in a breakfast table. All that we could do is look through our email boxes, our WhatsApp chats, our official communication. But do we really check on how are we feeling? How are we understanding our own self? So this is the first step towards taking care of our mental health, that checking on your own feeling. What are you feeling and how are you feeling?
Sure.
If you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
answered the question, we would move forward after this.
Yeah, I'm feeling fine today, ma'am. I'm feeling very good, and especially in this, I have joined you. So I mean, I'm feeling very, very excited to do this show with you. So I'm feeling great today. Thank you.
Yes, yes. That's a nice one, sir. So, do you check your feelings every day?
If you ask me so specifically, I may not be so sure. Basically, I don't check whether I'm feeling great, but definitely in the mornings I feel good. Maybe in the evenings you feel a little tired or stressed out at the end of the day. So that's how it is typically. And yeah.
Do we also think that it is important to check on our feelings?
I feel definitely we need to check and we need to have, we need to take care of ourselves and our mental health as we go along, in the sense that
Hmm.
whenever you are down or something like that, we need to take a break, or when we are stressed out heavily and, at the end of a very tired day. So we may have to take a break a little bit and freshen up and take a break and, have some, so I think I do some meditation or some yoga and meditation, and so that I can settle down for the evening, and then so that break out of all the thoughts. So meditation helps you to break away from most of the thoughts, so that when you go to sleep you're ready to give up on everything, and you're not holding on to anything, and so you can go to a blissful sleep. That's what I think is ideal, but sometimes we do miss all that. We miss that we don't do it consciously, and sometimes we don't even have time for meditation and yoga, and we just have the dinner and crash. So that's also there. I'm saying, what one would have done ideally, but what normally happens is the second one.
Truly, very much correct, sir. So, a lot of times we go missing on all of these things. We don't do it consciously, but then when we involved in certain process like meditation, yoga, some people do gym, some people go for walk, some jog. All of these do have certain effect that we don't see out loud, but then they are there and they are present. So taking a note of how we're feeling is very much important to move forward with how we want to make it a little bit subjective in ourself. So, yes, moving forward, why are we talking about mental health?
Mental
What
health,
is
yes. So mental
Yes, sir.
health seems to be everywhere these days. Why is this suddenly such an important conversation?
Yes. It has become a suddenly, I wouldn't say suddenly, but then yes, it has started slowly and then moved forward to this place. If I could remember, or if we all could go back to uh, the COVID era, where everything has started taking a storm, especially the side where we talk about mental health. So we have come from a very from place where we do not talk about it, or we thought that talking about mental health is only talking about certain conditions, to now where we are talking about it, taking it as a account to our overall well-being. For example, you might have heard about WHO's definition of health, that not only encompasses your physical health aspects but also your mental health aspects, which says that your health is a complete well-being of physical and mental health. So that is why I think talking about mental health has become a little bit of importance and little bit of more uh, of importance to subjective nature. Now, why should we talk about it?
Yeah, ma'am, yes, continue. Why we should talk about it? Uh, I'm sorry to have interrupted
Yes.
you.
Yes, sorry. Okay, so I would just invite you to, not only sir, but only also to our viewers who are listening to us right now, to think about a time where you couldn't sleep because of a lingering thought in your head. When was it? Last night? Just
Uh,
few hours ago? Or when?
yes, maybe a day before, or maybe last night also. Maybe a few hours. Maybe sometimes I had the feeling that few hours I wouldn't sleep and then I go to sleep afterwards.
Yes. But then that lingering thought had few effect on your daily life, or not. I mean, it did affect your sleeping time or sleep quality.
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Yes. So these are the small things that get unnoticed by us, but they are having a very significant effect on our system. That is our physical health system too. So that is why mental health becomes more important, as we consider it something, we shouldn't consider it something different from our own, physical health. These both are they go hand in hand, and they are also so much intertwined that it's very difficult for us to differentiate that what is what. If you just could talk about what mental health correctly is, it is nothing but your emotional, your psychological, and even your social well-being. As we say that there's a say, right, which says that we are humans, we are thinking beings. I think, therefore I am. You might have heard this. But then when you take a closer look, human beings are not just human because they are the thinking beings, they are also feeling beings, and they are also relational beings. I think that is the reason that we are also called as social animals. So our social self is also very important when it comes to mental health well-being, apart from what we think and apart from what we feel. So it not only comprises of our emotional and psychological well-being, but also our relational and social well-being. It influences how we feel, how we think, and how we behave. Very correctly. How we feel, how we think, and how we behave. These three are very important concepts of mental health. It's not only about, absence of well-being. Now,
Just one question in between, ma'am. So,
yes,
the basics, what exactly is mental health?
exactly. So
Yeah,
there's this aspect when we talk about mental health: our emotional aspect, our thinking aspect, and our behavior aspect.
yeah.
So these are three things that we can always count back to: how we feel, what we think, and how are we behaving.
And
For
anything
example,
about coping?
take a situation, sir. Maybe we are talking about a child who has exam tomorrow. So, if we think about what the child might be feeling, can you name some feelings that a child who is going through exam might have? For example, take this famous NEET uh, situation that has happened. What do you think children who are going to write NEET further will be feeling at the moment?
They would be very anxious, ma'am, according to me. Very, very anxious,
Yes,
very stressed out. And,
yes.
without knowing, there's a lot of uncertainty about what will happen
Hmm.
to them and what about the future. So they are very anxious about it and highly stressed, highly stressed. That was the situation. And in fact, it has driven a lot of people to suicide as well and all that. So it is, a very extreme condition.
Extreme condition for them who are going through it. So
Yeah.
when we see as a just third party, we could see the feeling, we could see all, we could also feel how could they have be feeling at the time. It's very important to understand what that person at the moment is going on, right? So that is the emotional aspect. What do you think they'll be having thoughts in their head? What kind of thoughts?
Oh God, thoughts. It's difficult.
As you said that it is very uncertain, yes,
It's
so with
very, very
uncertainty.
with uncertainty. They were not sure. I mean, they what will happen to them, and I do not know how they get these thoughts. How do they get the suicidal thoughts? So maybe because that means there's no other choice. They have no other choice but to do that. So that means they have no way forward. That's what they have come to decide for themselves. In the sense they have decided. I mean, they feel that there is no other way for them. So except they may they may even if they fail and all that, it may lead to a lot of they may not be able to cope up with that. In the sense, what will happen to them and what the society will think about them. So all these things come into play. So they feel that there is no option left but to commit suicide. That's how it is. That's what
Of
I
course,
think.
with uncertainty, yes,
With
sir, with
uncertainty.
uncertainty, lots of uncertain thoughts and uncertain feelings may be invited. We could only think about these extreme thoughts only because we have seen it in news. We have seen these things happening, so we are able to talk about this. But when we talk out loud about it, it becomes very important from our side also to bring out little boundaries and filters in these conversations. So, yes, to speak about it is fine, but then, to mention it as extreme thoughts or uncertain thoughts would be more appropriate instead of mentioning it as suicidal thoughts. So, we will be mindful next time, sir. So, yes. So, yes, with this situation, certain kinds of feelings are invited, certain kinds of thoughts do come. So, all three of these things combine to decide about a person's mental health well-being or the situation of their mental health. Yes.
So people often think I mean, one would always think that you're either mentally healthy or mentally unwell. Is it
Hmm.
really that simple? Just classifying as mentally healthy on one hand and mentally healthy or unwell on the other hand, two extreme kind of a thing like zero and one and digital. Do you think is
Hmm.
it really that simple?
It's not that simple, of course. It's never that simple. And, when we talk about mentally healthy, that means one person is able to balance out whatever is given at that point. So, what do you think is mentally healthy to you? How do you feel mentally healthy? If I could ask you the same question.
Mentally healthy, what I mean is you feel very, relaxed, very, very energized, enthusiastic, and you feel like to take a lot of initiatives, and you are full of enthusiasm, full of, full of open to, you have a open mind, you are open to a lot of things, you really like to try out a lot of things. So, you are ready to do anything to achieve, I mean, whatever your commitment or goals are, and you would like to put in more than your 100% into that. And so this is what mentally healthy, feels like to me.
But do you think it is possible in this life where we are doing more than one thing, where we are just rushing about things, where not only us but the lot of other factors do apply to our life? Do you think it's really possible for one person to be acting or behaving in the same way every time?
I think that is a little challenging a little bit because there stress factors build up over a period of time, and there is a lot of stress in the environment as well as
Yes. Yes, sir.
in
Correct,
the
correct. And that is
correct.
where we come to this point where we are discussing about why and how mental health is not only linear all the time. You might have seen an ECG line, it goes like beep, beep, beep all the time. It is also the same with mental health. It
Okay,
exists in a continuum.
okay,
Some days here, some days here, some days here. But then the consistency is what it matters. It's not about you are giving your 100% and you are 100% enthusiastic every day. But then on the days when you are not feeling like giving your 100%, you are at your low. What are you doing to take care of yourself? How are you, giving yourself that reassurance, giving yourself that sense of belonging to your particular life, to your particular self, and to the people around you, to all of your relationships, maybe your romantic relationship, maybe your marital relationship, and then your friendships. How are you giving yourself up to them? That is what mental health exactly is. And it's never a rose garden all the time. It's always, you know, crests and troughs, and how we manage ourselves through those crests and troughs. And that is where we discuss about where mental health brings us into a continuum. This also brings us to the very much soul of our discussion today, which is mental health well-being, and psychological safety moving forward. Yeah.
we often use these terms. Everybody gets to use mental health, mental well-being, and all these terms interchangeably, and
Hmm.
psychological safety. Could you help us understand? What exactly is the difference between mental health, mental well-being, and the other term, psychological safety?
Yes. So as you could see in the screen, there's a Venn diagram that connects all three of these, right? There's mental health well-being, and there's also psychological safety. Mental health, as we have noticed or as we have already discussed, it is something that deals with the way our thought process goes, the way our feelings operate or influence our actions and our thoughts, and the way we behave or take actions according to our thoughts or feelings. So that these three things comprise our mental health. Mental health well-being is the actionable part where we are not getting entrapped into this three figure cyclical nature of our mental health, but we are taking one step to break that cycle. We are taking certain steps for our own well-being. For example, a thought pattern. Take a thought pattern that you find yourself repeating again and again. For example, you're coming back from your office or school to home, and you have encountered a huge traffic one day on Monday. And you just thought that, okay, nothing is going to work now onwards. I just go and maybe I'll not have time to complete my rest of the work, and my life is going to be miserable. That's the one thought you had. Next day, you didn't get the traffic and you were happy, so you could do. Comes Wednesday or Thursday, the same kind of situation has repeated. Where would your thought land you in? Any guesses, sir?
Almost you're resigned to the thought that you cannot come out of this. It's something which you are stuck with, and there is no way
Yes.
out. That's what
Hmm.
we feel.
Well,
Yes, ma'am. Tell me.
Right. Very much. We will get into that feeling of getting stuck into that particular thought pattern where we find ourselves repeating and we think that, okay, nothing is going to work. Not, everything is done from here. So that is what our patterns decide. Now, when we're talking about mental health well-being, it is our first step to identify. As we were doing in the first slide, do you remember we identified how we are feeling today? Is the same thing that you have to take for yourself. How are you feeling? What are you thinking? Once you name these two, you'll be
Sure.
able to navigate yourself throughout that pattern, out of that pattern. And how do
Okay.
we do that? We will discuss in the next slide. Little bit about psychological safety. It is not safe or SOS kind of thing. It is just a way where you feel okay, where you feel confident enough to share about these things about your mental health or your maybe taking care of your mental health well-being. These two are being discussed under psychological safety. We'll see it in the further slides. Moving forward, here, what builds mental health well-being? If you could read through the slides, there is emotional awareness, as I was telling, that how we are feeling in that moment. It's very important. Then there is adaptability, ability to think forward with the kind of pattern of thoughts that we have. Okay, today it is not so great, but what I can make a little change in my routine, what I could do a little bit, change from the old pattern that I always repeat to make it little better for myself. Also, that particular pattern, to break the pattern, it might not be very much important for us at the moment to make everything correct, make everything go 100% smoothly. But yes, you are able to take a step forward. That means you are already being there, 50% at least. So that is particular thing that we call adaptability, making our behaviors or our actions adaptable to the changing scenarios of everyday life or everyday challenge that we face. Healthy relationships. Every time we talk about, these having proper relationship where everything is like a rose garden, but how do we start? It all starts with a basic communication. Having clear thought, having open communication about how we feel. When we tell ourselves that this is the particular feeling that I'm getting for this particular situation, sharing the same with someone that you trust, your trusted network, maybe your friend, maybe your parent, maybe your boyfriend, girlfriend, your partner, all of that. So when you share your feelings or your thoughts with them in a way, yes, that also might feel like, okay, somebody is there to listen. If not suggest you the right way, they are there to listen and understand and then help you navigate through it. Of course, the 100% responsibility of taking actions is on your own shoulders and on your own well-being. You have to decide that if you do the particular thing, how are you going to feel and how are you going to come forward with it. Rest of the thing comes next. This next layer where we are talking about purpose, taking rest, setting healthy boundaries, learning, having feeling of gratitude, all of these. So recognizing that particular emotion, recognizing that particular thought pattern, and then taking actionable steps which are healthy for ourselves, which build on our purpose, which are helping us learn, which are helping us set our boundaries and also helping us rest mentally, is very much important, and that is where your mental health well-being is built. All of these again will not happen in a single day, will not happen in a single stroke. It is a matter of consistency, as we have already discussed, that it is about the continuum. Yes. A little about psychological safety I would like to talk. So these are few contributing factors or elements of psychological safety. You know, as I've already told, that it is the feeling, it is not a SOS moment or it is not a guideline, psychological safety. It's just a feeling that you are confident and you are safe enough to share about your thoughts and feelings to someone or at a person or maybe a place. For example, your family, your friend, maybe a place like your workplace or your school, college, even at your home, maybe certain cafe that you like. So all of these do make psychological safety a net for yourself. We all have our comfort spaces. Yes. For me, it is my home. Whenever I am home, I feel that, okay, I don't need to pay much or I don't need to think much before doing anything or feeling anything. I can tell anything to my parents, or, I can share howsoever I'm feeling or whatsoever I am planning to do or what should I do. I share with them, so they share their own inputs with me. That makes it easier for me. So I think I can say that I'm psychologically safe around my parents. I would like to ask Dr. Mani Iyer, sir. So do you have any of such things, sir? Where do you feel
Definitely,
safe psychologically?
I mean, one of the places that you always feel psychologically safe is your own home. So you're not conscious about yourself. You're being the way you want. At least in college or any other place, you need to put on some face. You have to put an actor's face there. So something, you have to act it out like a college student, or at the workplace you have to act it out like as an employee there, and follow the rules and regulations, even though that may not be comfortable to you or natural to you. But at home you feel definitely, and your own space, maybe in your own room and as well as in your own home when you're talking to your parents and siblings, as well as when you are within your own space, you feel the most comfortable. You feel completely 100% psychologically safe there. So it's like it's a cocooned environment, or something like a, as a shell, a crab thing. It's something like a shell or a cocooned environment where you feel that nothing can touch you, nothing can come and hurt you inside your home, right? You are there, and so that's what I feel, man.
Yes. Very well, sir. But we have heard what sir thinks. It's his perspective totally. But then, sir, when I started working in this field, I've talked to so many students, adolescents and young adults who have a differing opinion, and they feel that they're not that safe to share about their feelings and thoughts at home. There's, in fact, they have told me that they, I mean, of course this is confidential, but then a lot of time the students come up with such things that they feel psychologically safe around their friends, they feel psychologically safe around their partner. So there's a difference of opinions. Of course, there's always an disagreement or agreement. They all go together, I would say. So it's also very subjective choice of what do you want and how do you want. Maybe there are a lot of things, again, family dynamics as said. So the safety net differs for each individual. That we need to pay attention to, that we need to understand always, that the safety that we feel around certain place, the other person might not be feeling. So that is very important when we are talking about mental health. The individualistic difference, the individualistic uniqueness of being safe or being mentally well. Yes.
So yes, ma'am. So well, just okay. Now the question is, of course, there is one important thing that comes, and a major factor in affecting your mental strength is about stress. Many people,
Hmm.
tell themselves, "I'm just stressed. I'm stressed out, completely stressed out." So how do we know when stress is becoming unhealthy?
Okay, we'll start with a simple question, sir. So imagine someone is asking you that I'm really struggling. Imagine that I'm asking you, sir, that I'm really struggling. What would you say out of these three answers? A is you'll be fine. B, you're still fine, Nasreen. Others are having it worse. C, I'm glad you told me. I'm here to listen. So, what do you think is giving you that, you know, safety net over here?
Yeah, if somebody tells me that I'm glad you told me, I'm here to listen, that will definitely give me a good safety net. No,
Yes.
basically, yeah.
Yes, sir, very well. So I think we all have understood psychological safety little too deeply. Now, this also brings us to a very important discussion, that is stress and management of stress. A few decades ago, stress was what? It was a scientific concept. It was a concept in physics. Force by area. Yes. Now, what is it? Now, stress has become a fact of life. I work with really young children, you know,
Mm.
around the age of 5 to 10 years old. Now, I talk to them and they also come with this thing that, ma'am, I am stressed. Would I say that what is stress to you? Certainly not. Because if I am stressed with my life, with remembering so much about DSM or with taking up cases like that, that child is also stressed with the ABCD that he is going to learn. So, yes, stress is a fact of life. It is true for every individual. As I was speaking before, mental health well being is different and unique for everyone. So is the nature of the stress that we experience. At this moment, what should one do?
So,
Yes?
yeah.
Sir, what do you
Some
do when you are stressed?
what I do, I go home or I just go to a coffee shop or anywhere outside, or I go to a park or, and sort of be with nature or,
Hmm.
or just have a nice, take it, just go out and go to a place and have a cup of coffee or have a fresh juice or something like that, or go home and just, relax or sleep and, rest a little bit, and then, have a face wash or whatever that you might call, and freshen up, or even you have a bath and then think about it, or not think about it, take rest, and, give it some time and then sleep over it possibly, and then, next day you come up with a solution. Your mind itself automatically comes up with some solution and in the morning. So these are some things that I have done. So, what do you think?
Very well, sir. Very well said. Giving it some time is very important because when you are at the peak of your um, unhealthy thoughts or unadaptable thoughts, it becomes very difficult for our brain to process things clearly. Again, what few things sir has noted, that he goes to a coffee shop, he orders some coffee, he gives it a little time, he chills in a park or maybe takes a walk. All these are few actions that he's taking. These are called coping strategies. For example, somebody who's stressed likes to hear music.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
somebody
ma'am.
likes to hear, somebody likes
Yeah.
to sing,
Yeah.
somebody likes to dance. So
Right.
all of these, somebody, also there's also a way that some people also resort to things like smoking or drinking. All of these are certain actions that we do according to certain stress that we encounter in our life. These are called coping strategies. Now, I'm able to cope to my stress through taking a walk in the park. Somebody else is coping it using a some other method which is not very healthy, like smoking. Both of these are helping the person come forward with that stress. But then at that moment, what is healthy and what is unhealthy becomes very important, right? Which one do you think is healthy at this moment?
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. Healthy in the sense that if you uh, go into, I mean, have a cup of coffee, or I don't know about coffee because caffeine also is a problem.
No, no, no. Yes, sir.
So maybe a juice, or go in the park, go for a walk, and listen to some
No,
music.
yes, certainly everybody has their own way of, handling the stress. It's just when we resort to certain things that become unhealthy for us. For example, smoking or drinking, when we do it more often, those are reportedly and evidently very difficult or, evidently harmful for our body. So that is where you need to identify. Stress is a fact of life. It is going to be there, but how are we coping is very important. So when we take these actions, we can differentiate or categorize them into two: healthy coping and unhealthy coping. Someone who's taking a walk or resorting to music, yes, it is not harming their body in any way. So healthy, yes or no?
Yes, definitely.
But on the other hand, somebody who's resorting to smoking, somebody who has gone into this whole, circle of going back to your drinking habit, trying out this, trying out that, is it a healthy habit?
Definitely
Exactly.
not. Definitely not.
Not quite, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm.
that is where the difference comes in with the coping mechanism or coping strategies that we do. Here are in the slides, if you could read, there are few things that you could take into consideration while considering your coping strategies to this stress. Because removing stress from your life is next to impossible. But how we manage it is very important. Start with the time management. Organize your stuff. Of course, 100% will not be there. You need to be a little messy here and there. Of course, when you're brainstorming your ideas, your mess will come out, and that is totally fine. But if you have at least 60% of your work organized, that solves your problem to a very great extent. I'm not saying 100%, but a good extent. Then comes relaxation techniques. Taking a walk, listening music, meditation, yoga, all of these, which bring your system to a equilibrium. Again, taking all of these out through a physical activity. When you engage your body into physical activity, your mind quite follows it through. So invariably, your thought process will go into somewhere else. So it will pay attention to your body more than your thoughts. Understanding. If you have a recurring thought pattern in your head and you decide to go on running or you decide to go on gym, just imagine all your body is going to pay attention to the physical activity that you are giving at the moment, because that is where all your body will be invested at the moment. Hence, the uh, attention towards your thought process comes down a little bit. That is getting an equilibrium to your thought process or not.
Definitely. Definitely. Yes.
So these are few things that you can think of while you are taking yourself into a coping strategies against your stress. Now, your stress level, you know it better than anyone else. Nobody is going to tell that, okay, this is not something to be stressed about. This is nothing. Others have it more. No, you know it. If you are feeling, then that is true. But how do you go about it? How are you coping with it is very important. And hence, we should all be mindful about it. Moving forward.
Yeah. So, when should somebody seek help? And sometimes people hesitate to reach out because they don't know if what they're experiencing is serious enough. What would you say to them? I mean, how would you take this?
Yes. So we think that, okay, until we are going to, just think about this. You have a rubber band, okay? Rubber band, which is like elastic rubber band. you push it. Sorry, you pull it. When you are pulling it, it is coming through. Yes, you are able to
Yes.
adapt. We talked
Yeah.
about adaptability. Yes. But until how long? Would you wait until the end point where it is finally breaking?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
right?
Right. It can. There is
We would
only
want
so
it
much
to
it
be
will.
adaptable.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
Yes, sir.
is only there is only so much you can pull it, beyond
Yes.
which it will get cut. So basically, you should know where what is the point of one that should be where is the point, breaking point, where we
Hmm.
call it the breaking point or the tipping point or whatever it might be. So that is definitely something you would know in a rubber band. So maybe what about the mind then? Whether you may know, I am not sure if we know about it, actually, consciously speaking.
Yes. Yes, sir. Actually, we all know everything unconsciously, as you have rightly put it across, that we do know everything, but then there's that lack of awareness ki okay, this is it, yahan pe we should stop, or this is the way that we need to go forward. That is there. True. So yes, we should know our breaking point, but do we need to reach that breaking point? Not quite. Yes, the moment we start getting this feeling of okay, this is not going correct, we can take an action. Again, it is different for everyone, very unique. One person might go to the end point, okay? One person might not find it okay to go to the end point. They want it to resolve that particular situation right when it starts expanding beyond their own, beyond it, what they can take. So anything is fine. So when it is truly your intuition, it is truly your own introspection and your own self understanding of yourself that helps you guide or helps you navigate that when should you go about taking an action, or when should you go to seek help. Again, where do we go to seek help? Need not be a counseling or need not be a therapist at the first time. We all have our confidence, we all have our social support, as we are talking about our relationships and friendships. Yes, we can start it from there. Then if it seems like an important thing to be addressed by a professional, we can always go to a professional help. Again, identifying your professional help is also very important. Which mode? Online, offline? So many options. Instagram, this chat GPT. What do we do? So many options already there. So need to know that, certain things can only go at a certain extent. And what kind of help do we need at that moment would decide the way. Now, chat
Sure.
GPT, if you say, okay, the discussion will just continue if we are going to do this. But then, yes, have that understanding of yourself. Ki, what do you need from that particular issue to be addressed? Is it something that if you just listen to Google or ChatGPT is going to happen? Or is it something very personalized that you think is, the general answers of artificial intelligence will not cater? That is your moment to decide. Again, as a mental health advocate, I do not support any of such generalized answers that your chat GPT or Google or any, even Reddit, even Reddit does give. So yes, go to a help which is professional, go to a person who is human. We all have studied theories, we all know our DSM, we all know our pointers, but when it comes to a person who we are handling, we become a human, we touch them as human. That is where it becomes very important, because a machine will never understand the way you are feeling, or will never able to see the way a person, a professional will see you. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
ma'am. So suppose like we wanted to improve your mental being starting today. Where should I begin?
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, so if I wanted to improve my mental well-being, let's say that, I want to
Hmm.
begin my mental well-being, where do you think I should start? No, because I'm
Yes.
a little confused now, right? Because so yeah,
Yes, as we say that and we understand that stress is every day, or it has, become as common as breathing air. I feel people who live in metro cities, even breathing air is a little bit stressful. So, incorporating few things in your daily habits would make it a little bit better. As you can see in the screens, there are 5 R's. You know, 5 R's. First R is for rest, a body which is rested well, a mind which is rested well, will be able to think and identify their emotions clearly and loudly and comprehensively, which will decide the person's way out of a pattern of stress or a negative thought pattern or even any emotional disruption at the moment. So, rest is of utmost importance. The second most thing that we can do is reaching out. Who do we reach out? How do we reach out? We will have our own network, right? Our own trust network. The psychological safety net that we were talking about, where the person who we feel most safe around to share our emotions genuinely and clearly, we will reach out to them. If we feel, or if our confidants around us feel that we need a support, professional support, expert help, reaching out to the right kind of experts is also very important. Third R is reflect. Reflect on your thoughts, reflect on your emotions. In the starting of the session, we have talked about how are we feeling, what are we feeling, and how do we go about it. Why do you think that was important? Why do you think taking a note of our emotions are important? Because the moment you start realizing, the moment you start reflecting on what are you doing, why are you doing, how are you doing, it becomes a roadmap for us to continue further. Yes. Once I know that, okay, I am feeling stressed because I have a presentation tomorrow, then I'll be able to tell myself that, okay, because tomorrow I have a presentation, I need to be a little bit prepared with it on my own terms. Let me see what I want to talk about, what I want to bring forward to the table, how I want to bring forward to the table. How do you want to dress up? How do you want to show up? What discussions I want to bring on the table which are important with concurrent situation. All of those are part of my reflection and planning. So when you reflect on yourself, you will be able to plan yourself. When you plan, that you are organizing yourself. When you organizing yourself, that becomes that a little bit, counter strategy towards the next stress that you're going to encounter in your life. So this is a continuum, and this is something that we need to do every day. Recharge. Specific hobby, specific activity, gym, dance, listening to the music, reading a novel, watching something lighter on Netflix, everything, whichever fills you with, with little bit of more enthusiasm, that is your green flag that you need to do every now and then. Every day, if possible, yes. If not, regularly is recommended. Then the last R, which is respond kindly to yourself. Have a test tomorrow, and haven't done anything up until now. Now I will sit down and crib about it. Ki mujhe yesterday I should have done it. I should have done it since the morning. Now I don't have time anymore. What should I do? This all my fault, all my fault, all my fault. How does that feel in your head? Recurring thoughts? Quite heavy, quite heavy. Yes, we all do agree. So when that happens, you need to sit down and see, again, go back to the reflect part, and then reflect on what has happened that you weren't able to give your 100% of whatever you have planned. Yes, maybe you weren't feeling like it, maybe you were taking it so lightly. Possible, right? We are all humans, we are invariably towards doing things wrong. But how do we make it right is what important at the moment. And how do we do it? So respond yourself kindly. Uh, Go back to the situation. Yes. Think about how you can take it further, how you can make it a little bit lighter for yourself. Have 2 more hours to study? Can I sit with the whole chapter? No. Notes? Yes. I can revise the notes. I can revise the summary. Important questions? Done. Maybe I'll not get 10 out of 10, but can expect 7 to 8? Yes. Maybe 6? Yes. But that is what the output of our work that you have put. Yes, the kind of input we put, the same output we get. So that is where it becomes a little bit easier on your own self. Yes, you have done not a very good job there, but then be kind to yourself so that whenever you are doing it next, you are coming up with a better proposition. That is our last R. Yes. So these 5 daily habits are a step towards, building a better mental health. These are also the components of our mental health well-being. These are also invariably components of our psychological safety net and our mental health. If you could see, all 3 components are being reflected or are being comprised in these 5 R's. We will repeat again. First R is for rest. Next R, reaching out. Third, reflect. Fourth, recharge. Fifth, respond kindly to yourself. Yes.
That was very nicely put, ma'am. So it was excellent, superb. And it also says that what you're saying is that small habits which you do it regularly or consistently matters more than doing big things, big changes or big things. So I support. I mean, I can feel with that now. I can go with that, and I'm able to see how that is going to help me much more than doing some big changes suddenly. So I appreciate that. So having talked about it, it is very good. It's a good. This 5R strategy is very good, fantastic, and superb. According to me, it's awesome as well. So what I just want is next maybe just talking about once you support yourself, then you must also reach out and support others as well. And so, if question, I have a small question. So, what if somebody like a family friend or a friend or a relative or any close relative or anybody is not doing well? How do we protect them or make them safe?
Yes. That also brings us to the next discussion, right? Yes, sir. This is how can we, be present for others. So when we are talking about mental health, as we already discussed, that we are not only thinking beings or feeling beings, we are also relational beings and social beings, social animals we are. So when we are talking about our own mental health, that when the understanding comes in, this becomes a natural tendency in ourselves to go about and talk with it with others. talk about it to others. So when we see the same in others, how do we be present for them? How do we make it easier for them as well? So again, a simple acronym that we can think of to start, it is called Be Safe. Look at it. B is for be present. What do you mean by be present? When you're listening to someone, yes, you're listening, right? So if I tell just, I'm feeling not right because tomorrow I have this session and I'm not prepared, you're just listening to me. What is the new thing happening there? What is the one thing that you think, you should do? Sir, anything from your side? How do
Uh,
you be present?
you have to be there for them. You need to, you need to be physically around. You need to be also, there, so that you can like extend a shoulder. They can a shoulder to cry on. So something like that. So,
Yes, yes,
yes.
quietly. But a shoulder to cry on, yes, maybe that is a figure of speech, right? So, yeah, be present. That means listen to them actively if they are saying something. Just acknowledge it. Ki, yes, yes, this is there. This can be a problem. Instead of just giving them solution right away. Do this, do that, you know, go for it. No, not everybody wants your ready to do solutions at that moment. We are not ChatGPT. So let us be humans. So instead of giving them solutions, just listen to them that, okay, this is the problem. Okay, let us see how we can move forward. Encourage the conversation. Same, moving forward. Encourage it the way they are feeling. Uh, tell them that you are there. It is okay to feel in such way. It is okay to feel all the feels. Do not stop them. This is not right. Of course, for someone who understands mental health will not do. But then if we are doing, we need to mark it as a red flag and start making change. Then we have S, support without judgment. Judgment meaning giving them a certificate. Ki, yes, this is this. I think you should go for it. That shouldn't happen when you are being present for others, when you are being helpful to others, when you are supporting someone else's mental health. Be mindful about what you say. Be accepting of their own individual factors. What is working for you might not work for them. So, having that in your head is very much important. Support them without judgment. Ask if they need help. Ask them subtly, do you need any kind of help? Do you need me to do something here? Or do you expect something else from someone? How can we do this together? These are certain words of, you know, empathy that goes a long way. We might think, okay, what will this happen? This is just empty promises. No, do not just say them out of sake of just saying. Be there, be there. Think about yourself, be empathetic. Think about what if you were in their shoes. What would you do and what would you expect those around you, your close ones, to do for you? This makes a lot of our actions easier in any relationship. Then facilitate for professional help. Yes, if it is required, again, we will come to our own judgment. We'll also go by the person's judgment or the person's understanding of their situation and then take it forward to the professional help. E for empathize. Very important. I feel all of these be safe thing could have been much more better with empathy in each step, right? Be present with empathy. Encourage conversation with empathy. Support without judgment with empathy. Ask if they need any help with empathy. Facilitate for a professional help. Again, with empathy. Very important. Very important. Might feel like a lot, but a very small step. Very subtle conversations that you can bring about your empathetic side for others. It is just so simple. You just have to imagine yourself in their shoes, their situation. How would you do it? How would you want others to do for yourself at that moment? So easy. Again, what works for you might not work for them. So having that clear communication as well is also very important alongside of being empathetic. That is what we can do for ourselves and the people we love with regard to mental health. We have had a huge discussion around this topic, right? It was like we almost knew everything, but then still we didn't know. So, before we close, before we end this discussion, I seriously want you all to invite to this particular thing where I want you all to reflect on how you are going to take care of yourself further. Please read the slide. It says, this week I will take care of my mental health by dash. What would you do? Sir, what would you do?
I would definitely first thing is take a lot of rest. I mean, I first thing is that I think body needs a lot of rest, and so I'll ensure that that I get my full thing of sleep, full 8 hours or say 7 8 hours of sleep, 7 to 9 hours of sleep per day, and ensure that I go to bed at the right time by 10 or something like that and get up by 6 7 or something like that, so that you get your 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and that is the most important thing, I feel. Once that is done, then rest of the thing I think is you just a little bit of correction. Maybe do some yoga in the mornings, go to for a walk in the morning, or do some exercises in the mornings and evenings. I mean, and do some meditation as well. And I think that should be you should be okay. And also, maybe a couple of other things. Take breaks in between. Think about if you have any stresses in your work corporate life. Take breaks in between, and need not respond immediately. Just wherever possible, you try to just take a break. Think about it, and then respond to situations or circumstances. So these are the couple of few things I think I might think of doing for this week.
Yes, very much correct, sir, and very much, welcoming with all those things that you have shared with us. You not only have one, but you have more than one things to do that you want to take a, initiative as for your mental health well-being. That's very refreshing to know. I just hope all our viewers are also on the same page and they are as clear as our discussion that we have had. So, in this whole series of slides that we have discussed, all that I can, as a professional, I could just look forward is we all have this conversation in our daily lives, right? It's not just like I'm a psychologist, so I talk about psychology all the time. I do realize that I'm a human too, and in our daily life conversations with my parents or with my friends too, we do discuss about all of these. But then when it comes to real deal understanding, there is where the gray area is. And that is where I think we need to work on. If you could revisit our discussion and, rethink about all of this, it makes it even more better and easier from our side. I think with this, I would like to end my discussion from my side, and I would like to invite any further discussion from you. Any questions or anything? The forum is open.
Yes, ma'am. Just one last question.
Yes.
Maybe if our audience wants to remember, just what do you think are the three things from today's conversation? What would you want them to be? What are the three key takeaways or three things that they can do?
So, three things is first, to always know what you are feeling or thinking, name it, so you can tame it. Second thing is planning before you take any action. For example, your stress is there, but what kind of coping you need to do? Make it a little bit healthier on your side. Yes, you enjoy doing certain things that are, helping you manage the stress, but those are not helpful. Those are not healthy. Please try refraining from those. Try getting into healthier habits. Third, always have a safety net around you in form of a place, in the form of people. Always have certain set of psychological safety factors that help you understand your own mental health well-being. These are the top three things that I can tell you to always keep in your mind and move forward.
I
Thank you.
thank you on behalf of all our viewers and everybody. We'd like to thank you very much for this session, and now we'd like to put the session open for questions as well, if there are any questions. Otherwise, maybe you can just conclude by giving your concluding thoughts in conclusion,
Yes, sure.
in summary and conclusion, ma'am. So, yeah, please go ahead.
I think we have done our conflict concluding thoughts too, where we have just discussed about three takeaways. I would also want everybody to, you know, reflect on their mental health well-being, mental health aspects, and psychological safety. So yes, that brings us to the conclusion of the discussion.
So I thank you very much, ma'am, for this very enlightening discussion that I would call it. It was a fantastic and an awesome talk, and really it was, eye-opening as far as I am concerned, and it would, I think, for our viewers as well. So I really thank you very much for taking the time out from your busy schedule, a very ultra busy schedule, as I might call it, and
Yes.
come in and take and spend an hour with us, and that too on a Sunday. Which I mean, and it is really I mean, thank you very much for that. I really would like to thank you for that. And this shows the how serious and how thing you have, this topic is, and how much you are. You believe in it, and how much this is because you would like to contribute towards it. So the way the discussion went, and it was really great and superb and fantastic. So thank you very much, ma'am. Have a good day. Have a rest of the weekend, very good weekend, rest of the weekend, and also have a great day ahead of yourself. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot once and for
Thank
all
you,
on
sir. Thank
behalf.
you, sir, for having me. Yes, means a lot. Yes, thank you for taking out the time for having such an important discussion, which is important, but we do not consider, or we just have some narrative around it, which is like a myth. So thank you for bringing that clarity to the air. Yes, this I suppose would be helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much, ma'am. Take care. We'll see you soon on another broadcast. Hopefully, you can come
Hopefully.
on,
Yes,
further episodes, or maybe on another topic. You can come and join us,
sure,
maybe
sir.
very soon in the future. So, looking forward to the same. And okay, thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I'll take a
Good
leave.
day to you. Thank you. Bye.